I'd like to call the City of LaPorte Common Council meeting to order on July 7th. It is 6 o'clock on the nose. We will begin the Pledge of Allegiance with our very own veteran, Roger Galloway.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Clerk Treasurer Parthune.
Councilman Galloway. Here. Councilwoman Ficus. Present. Councilwoman Huffman.
Present.
Councilman Frankie.
Here.
Councilwoman Konechny.
Present.
Councilman Buchanan.
Here.
Councilwoman West. Here. All present.
Approval of meeting minutes from June 16th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to adopt the minutes as presented.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. With the allowance from the council, I would like to invite a guest forward. In fact, I guess we could start with Charity from Hotspot Cafe, our small business coalition leader. She has some friends here that we're excited about as we continue to color our downtown.
Hi, everybody. I'm Charity from the Hotspot Cafe and LaPorte Small Business Coalition, in case you didn't already know that. So we were very excited to be chosen to get a mural on the side of our building. And today we were having our first public meeting at the Hotspot, and Ms. Sherry Lee Charlton is our muralist, and so we roped her into coming to the council meeting tonight to meet all of you. She has, well, tell them a little bit about yourself. So you have quite a history.
Hi, everybody. I'm a illustrator, muralist for over 15 years. I'm a professor of illustration at Columbia College in Chicago. I live on the north side of Chicago. Come to Indiana, Michigan a lot, so I love this area and this region, and I'm connected with Janet a couple years ago. We've been working for years to try to bring a mural to this area and finally got it to happen. And I'm really excited that the next steps are starting, and we're hoping to get everything underway in just a couple weeks. And really excited to just, this is a beautiful city, but just to, add to the beauty and the positivity of the city with a piece of artwork. I'm very excited to be part of that. And thank you for welcoming me into your community to do that too, and inviting me here today too.
Well, we are definitely excited to have you here, Janet from the Lebesnick Center, who we've already partnered with 2 murals, one at
Mucho Mas and
Mucho
one at
Mas
the
and-
Exchange.
Yes, the Exchange.
So this year, we're happy to report, and thank you, this is very impromptu. You never know what the mayor will ask you to do if you run into him. Janet from Lebesnick Center for the Arts, and we have facilitated 2 murals here, and we are going to facilitate 2 more this summer. I just want to invite everybody that in this very room next Monday at noon, we will have another public meeting to give some input on the mural at Hotspot. And then we also were approved to do a mural on the decommissioned fire station that's on Lincoln Way and State Street, I believe, is the location. That will eventually be a restaurant, but the mural faces Lincoln Way, and it's part of the beautification efforts by your mayor, and we know that murals bring all kinds of wonderful
Quality of
amenities
life.
and quality of life issues to the towns they're in. So, yes, hopefully what you'll see in those packets for the public too, is that you can see what some of those wonderful benefits are, and you'll also get a chance to see some samples of Cherry's work, and then on the last page are actually some designs that she has submitted for Hotspot Cafe, and you can weigh in on them, and so thank you for the opportunity.
Well, we're excited to have you, and again, when is that meeting?
Next Monday, here in this room at noon. And then hopefully with your input, we're going to not waste any time and start the week after. So,
Exciting.
yeah.
I hope the
So
weather's nice.
Well, and I know we have, before the meeting, Shay Ullman had mentioned to me, our police officer, if he wanted a profile of himself on the side of the building, he could add that back there. He could add, yeah, there you go.
Just not on hotspot, just not on chair. He could be a first. Well, actually, just so you know, that I think that the mural on the fire station, that really the main, we listen to input from everybody, but we have main stakeholders who are the building owners. And I think he really wants a first responders mural. So that would be a great opportunity to weigh in on, whether it's local, global, what kind, so they're really, we do want your input, and we want you to feel part of it. And you also offered that people could help prime the wall.
Anybody wants to get out a roller and help me prime the wall and stuff, yeah.
Well, welcome to LaPorte. Any comments from council? Thank you all.
We're excited, thank you.
so much.
And again, you don't have to stay. You can leave after this. And then one other opportunity we have here before us, before we hit to comments of citizens, and hopefully this will help address one of them comments. I have Nick Minnick, our city engineer here. Nick has an more important, as we say, family first, daughter's championship softball game tonight. But before he heads out that way for the victory, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to update everybody on Lincoln Walk. We've had a lot of comments of the orange downtown and the goal, and I thought it just would be important for council to hear, what is the goal of Lincoln Walk that we've been talking about for some time? And Mr. Minnick, if you don't mind sharing.
And I have 2 tournament games, so I blame Mark Schreiber for that. And one daughter at home trying to find pants, one at the game. It's a lot, but it'll work. So we were able to move forward with Lincoln Walk. Lincoln Walk is something we've kind of talked about before. There are kind of limitations on what we can do as a community to try and engage our downtown and make it more walkable, make it safer. More so than INDOT already is doing. One of the things we can do be called tactical urbanism, or really temporary measures to start to look at what we can do different, and also those temporary measures are ideally going to help change the attitudes and patterns of motorists and pedestrians in our downtown. So what you see, the Lincoln Walk striping and delineators, again, is a temporary installation. We have a 5-year permit from INDOT. We will be removing the delineators over the winter, and that way they don't affect the plows. They're just kind of stuck on for now. We ordered more delineators than expected because we did do at all of the state highway interchanges. We did with it. It's called auto turn, and essentially what it is we use a WB65, which is INDOT's required design vehicle, and we have that on CAD turn the corner, and we see what's doable. I think the challenge is there's more out there now, but really it was extremely hard for a truck to make the turn from Lincoln Way to Monroe before any of this, and what you'll see is at Monroe and at Indiana there are a lot less delineators, and why that is because in running our auto turn we knew that they'd be in conflict with the trucks. There's 1 or 2 that are in conflict with the kind of rear wheel of the truck, and we know that they are. Ideally, that's the largest design vehicle, so we bought extra we can replace. It's much better than them hitting our planters, which happens quite often on a very regular basis. Really what we're trying to do is make it safer, make people kind of think about our downtown a little differently. Hopefully kind of pause a little bit and know that we do have pedestrians. It shortens the kind of functional crossing distance for pedestrians so that they have a little more safety. And we didn't take out any parking, we didn't take out any drive lanes, we didn't take anything out. Essentially what we did is we just painted where the parking lanes were, and that offers a little more protection for our parking lanes, which people have had concerns with in the past. So ideally our parking lanes get a little safer, our pedestrians are a little safer, and motorists are a little bit more aware of our downtown being an urban area with more than just through traffic, if that's their goal.
And again, we want our downtown. We've heard from many families uncomfortable bringing their families downtown. We want to slow the traffic down. And this is the long-term goal that Mr. Minnick's been a part of for some time, about taking control of Lincoln Way for our residents while swapping NDOT maybe to provide an option for truck traffic. No one has said we don't want trucks downtown to deliver. Never once has anybody ever said that. Deliveries will still be there, but the majority of trucks that want to get around and about without having to come through Lincoln Way, this is kind of the beginning.
Those larger WB65 style trucks, the need for those for downtown deliveries is very limited. There are a few, but, and again, we want to accommodate all vehicles, but it may look a little different. And this is really just like I said, a temporary solution to really start to look at what can we be doing, what could we do more. And because it is temporary, we have the option to kind of make some adjustments as you know, when the delineators go back out in the spring, we're kind of taking note of which ones are getting the most damage, which ones are getting hit the most, and we can look at why that is, and maybe there's some other, you know, traffic calming measures we can make to make sure people are staying in their lane as they make their turns.
But I will tell you this, we have special department heads that care about LaPorte. I've asked Mr. Minnick to look at something, look at options, ideas. If this doesn't work, I'm held accountable, not Mr. Minnick. So you can call me directly, anybody, but we're trying. We are trying, and anybody that has interest in our downtown with the issues that business owners face, it can talk to, I don't want to put Charity on here, but Charity from Hotspot Cafe and the issues that happen. But this is not Nick Minnick. This is me. Nick's just coming up with what I think is a fantastic idea versus looking at a magic ball to say, oh, let's make traffic go away or make our downtown better. He actually came up with an option here. So are there questions for Mr. Minnick?
And we work with NDOT's kind of traffic department, less on the permitting side on this one, more on the traffic department side, to try and make sure that all this made sense to them too. So it's something that NDOT supported in numerous communities. It is something that a lot of other communities are doing too. So.
Questions?
I would just point my office is downtown. I've had, this year, had a client's rearview mirror taken off, walk to the courthouse. I got to cross Indiana, cross Lincoln Way. Even if you've got the walk signal, you have to be prepared that you don't have the right of way because the pedestrian loses to a car, right? So I think anything, if we try it out and it doesn't work, we'll move on. But like, I think we have to try to make it more pedestrian friendly. If anybody thinks of quaint downtowns, they don't think of 4-lane highways that run down the middle of them. And Nick pointed out at a meeting last week, at least on Pine Lake Ave, we have traffic counts that are approaching the same counts as Highway 30. Is that right? We just kind of are used to that living here in our community and take like, well, let's have basically a major highway dividing our town. So.
And you already have one comment here. It says, I love Lincoln Walk. It looks awesome. From a Miss Sarajewski. Any other comments?
No.
I bring this up, council questions. Because we do have, if you don't mind, we do have one comment from the citizens, and if Brian Cager could come forward as a question. Nick, if you don't mind sticking around, because you might be best to answer. Welcome.
Hi, Brian Cager, 406 Easton Street.
Smile.
Yeah. So I brought it up because I think the orange spots are great for visual, like as long as obviously drivers are paying attention, right? But I don't like the idea of the poles for 2 reasons, well, 3 reasons actually. One, we are losing them on the first day because especially Highway 4 and Lincoln Way, a semi can't even swing that corner by itself. And now you got poles. CDL drivers, there's no deduction to them. Our school bus drivers can't swing that corner. And if they hit a pole, it's a deduction to them. So, like, it's literally a traffic violation for them, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. but I have a buddy's mom that drives the school bus. The second reason is they are a trash collecting idea, like the no horn traffic guards that are at the gates or at the traffic gates for the trains. They're 100% cluttered all the time because we don't run street cleaner through them. Like you drive by any of those streets and there's garbage just collected, even if it's just garbage and miscellaneous blacktop that has broken down.
Just so I understand, you're saying in between the,
Like where the yellow
Bollards.
guards are,
in between?
yeah, like by the PRCU. Like, it's literally just filled with trash, like a foot off of the yellow things. And second of all, we have to remember we live in Northwest Indiana where we get all kinds of snow. Like, well, what are we gonna do? The orange, great idea. It brings attention that someone might be standing there. But almost the fourth reason is, where there's millions of visitors a year, Las Vegas, they require people to stay on the sidewalks. We're inviting people to step out into the street. I don't think that's a great idea. Like, change the timers on the sidewalks so people have more time to pass if it is a busy evening or whatever. But don't invite people to stand on the sidewalk or off the sidewalks. And that's what the polls are doing. Because now you're asking for more crowd of people if it is a busy night, like Friday nights uptown or something. And now you're asking for problems. So
Thank you.
sidewalks are, obviously made for that reason. Thank you.
Mr. Minnick, before you leave, any comments that, just to update, I know the snow, they won't be up during the snow. And from the truck's perspective, they can also, and we just, Mr. Cook and I had a meeting this morning with a truck driver where they said, yeah, we should probably not be coming up Monroe anyway, but look at Boyd when I want to look north and then go up to Boston, out and about.
But even box trucks making deliveries, if there's traffic on Highway 4 coming into town.
We'll hold off here because you're not at the mic, but I want to make sure, Mr. Minnick.
Yeah, and I think that, like I said, what we did was we looked at all the intersections and especially the state routes. More than happy to work with school corporation, and if they have bus routes where buses need additional turning routes on local streets versus on the highways, we can look at that. It's not, they're not the same as the railroad crossings. Those are actually curbs mounted on the ground. These are just delineators on small bases. So, and I do think that it has it's shown me where maybe there's some drainage issues that we can work with NDOT to address, where we start to see, things maybe settle out before it gets to the drains too. So I think there's a lot of benefits, and it is different. More than willing to look at intersections on a case by case to make sure they're safe, and I think they aren't I wouldn't say overly intrusive to be able to maneuver around them if you need to. They can be run over. That's part of the way they're built.
This is only the beginning, and I hope, Brian, if you can set some time up with Nick and the engineering department, come down. Good luck, get out, family first. Is there any other public comment?
One unrelated to that, and I'll message the person.
Okay.
Yep.
Standing committee reports. President Frankie.
Redevelopment Commission met on the 25th. It was, I think, less than 2 minutes. They approved the claims, and that was it. That's all I have to report.
Councilwoman Huffman.
Thank you. The Sustainability Commission met on June 24th, 2025 in City Council chambers. The spring planting has been modified since the loss of the federal tree fund earlier this year. The current plan is to plant 18 trees with the funds that are available. Each homeowner that was in the new plan for a tree was notified via letter, and they were given the option to decline. Added to some of the trees around town are tree watering bags, which will help save time for city staff during hot weather when trees need watering more often. The commission is also looking for better EV charging structures across the city by researching tax credits or grants. Lastly, the commission is currently making a plan to meet with city department heads to field ideas on how the city of LaPorte can become more sustainable. Questions are being developed, and department heads will be invited to Sustainability Commission meetings in the future to discuss. End of report.
Councilwoman Ficus.
Park Board will meet on Wednesday, July 16th, 4 PM at the Park Office, and then the next Traffic Commission meeting will be Tuesday, August 5th, 5 PM at the Police Station.
Councilman Galloway.
See, the Police Merit Commission is going to meet Wednesday instead of tomorrow, 9 o'clock at the Police Department.
Councilwoman West.
Nothing to report tonight.
Councilman Buchanan.
The Plan Commission scheduled to meet tomorrow at 6 PM here in council chambers.
Councilwoman Konechny.
The Airport Authority will meet this Wednesday, the 9th, at 5:15 at the airport.
Thank you. Second and final reading of an ordinance, Councilwoman West. No, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Ficus.
Your Honor, I move to read an ordinance for the second and final time by title only.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Ficus.
An ordinance establishing a parking space at 824 Lincoln Way to be designated as a loading/unloading zone.
Discussion. Councilwoman Ficus.
Just like I said last time, Kathy Jesse from the Women's Care Center asked, because there are, mothers in need can earn the big items, and so it just helps for them to be able to come out their side door. And it won't be like an all-day loading and unloading, it'll be like a 10 or 15-minute only loading and unloading zone.
And I think it's important to just reiterate from last meeting that it's open to all folks to use it, but it'll just be designated as loading and unloading.
Correct.
Comments? Do I have a motion to approve?
I will be abstaining from this vote.
Do I have a because? In Dot Road. Just wanted the public to hear. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Public hearing and introduction of an ordinance. President Frankie.
Your Honor, I move to read an ordinance in its entirety for the first time.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. President Frankie.
An ordinance to vacate a street or roadway in the city of LaPorte, Indiana, whereas the petitioner, Kush Patel, having filed a petition with the Common Council of the city of LaPorte, Indiana, for the vacation of a portion of alleys adjacent to J and Fifth Streets in the city of LaPorte, Indiana. And whereas petitioner is the owners of land which abuts the public way, and whereas property owners of land adjoining and abutting lots have been served with notice of a public hearing pursuant to Indiana statute, and whereas notice of the public hearing on the ordinance was published in the LaPorte Herald Argus at least 10 days prior to the public hearing, and whereas a public hearing was held on the 7th day of July 2025 in the chambers at LaPorte City Hall located at 801 Michigan Avenue, LaPorte, Indiana, at which hearing all interested parties were given the opportunity to present their views for and against the granting of the vacation and pursuant to ordinance. And whereas the council has determined that the vacation of the street should be granted, being duly advised in the premises, the city council of the city of LaPorte, LaPorte County, Indiana, makes and approves the following findings. 1, that there are no property owners whose property will be adversely affected by the public ways to be vacated. 2, the vacation will not hinder the growth or development of the city of LaPorte. 3, the vacation will not make access to the land of any party by means of public way difficult or inconvenient. 4, the vacation will not hinder the public access to church, school, public building, or place. 5, the vacation will not hinder the use of any public way. 6, the vacation requested by the petitioner is in the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of LaPorte. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of LaPorte, LaPorte County, Indiana, as follows. Section 1, that the following described real property is hereby subject to retention of existing utility easements and any new easements for utility easements for NIPSCO and the City of LaPorte vacated. And I will skip the legal description. Section 2, the clerk treasurer of the city of LaPorte is requested and directed to record this ordinance in the office of the recorder of LaPorte County, Indiana, and also present this ordinance to the LaPorte County auditor. Section 3, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage, adoption, and publication as required by law. End of ordinance.
Discussion. Mr. Otis.
We could open
Okay, we do have an affidavit of publication before we go to the public meeting. Mr. Otis?
This was published on June 28th, 2025, and open this public hearing on the ordinance to vacate these alleys. This is just for people familiar with the area, across from Tasty Cream on J Street, which would be the old car wash. And I don't know if Mr. Cook has anything to add on the development project, no. So they're seeking to vacate an alley that runs parallel to J Street and then one that runs into J Street as a part of this project. So this went through Traffic Commission as well?
It did.
Councilwoman Ficus, anything to add on that?
No.
Okay.
With that, I will now open up for a public meeting. Anybody that would like to speak on this topic, public meeting is now open. Anybody from the public? On this topic? Hearing none, I will now close the public hearing. Council, questions? Hearing none, we will now move this to July 21st, if you can believe it. Introduction of an ordinance regarding the use of public records for commercial purposes. Mr. Buchanan.
I move to introduce an ordinance read in its entirety for the first time.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Buchanan.
An ordinance regarding the use of public records for commercial purposes. Whereas the City Council for the City of LaPorte, Indiana desires to adopt measures to limit the commercial use of public records. And whereas Indiana Code 5-14-3-3E provides that a city may enact an ordinance may prescribe the conditions under which a person who receives information in response to an Access to Public Records Act request may not use information for commercial purposes, including to sell, advertise, or solicit the purchase of merchandise, goods, or services, or sell, loan, give away, or otherwise deliver the information obtained by the request to any other person for these purposes. Now therefore it be it, and it is hereby ordained by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that Section 1, pursuant to Indiana Code 5-14-3-3, the City of LaPorte prohibits a person who receives information or documents from the City of LaPorte in response to an Access to Public Records Act request from using the information or documents for commercial purposes, including to sell, advertise, or solicit the purchase of merchandise, goods, or services, or sell, loan, give away, or otherwise deliver the information obtained by the request to any other person for these purposes. A person who uses or intends the use information or documents contrary to this ordinance shall be prohibited from obtaining a copy from the City of LaPorte. Use of information or documents received in connection with the preparation or publication of news for nonprofit activities or for academic research is.
The City of LaPorte, like many governmental agencies, gets many public records requests. And what this the Indiana legislature allows governmental entities to restrict public records requests that are solely for commercial purposes. And what I'm talking about is reselling the information that they make. They're not seeking it to, like, for, you know, to put somebody's contract out on the internet. No issues with that. No issues with posting the salaries of employees. We're not trying to restrict the newspaper from making public records requests or local citizens from getting information about their government. We are getting, and it's not just the City of LaPorte. Our firm represents 12 public school corporations as well, and we're constantly getting requests from companies that resell this information to third parties. So, as an example, this is just one example of the types of requests that I'm talking about. They're making a request for a list of, or database of all purchase orders, expenditure report, vendor payment history from January 1 of 2022 to present date that should include purchase date, vendor name, description of goods and services, line item quantity, line item price. And I get these all the time for schools, for the City of LaPorte. and you go look at who is making the request, and they're a company that resells this information to third parties. It's not for the benefit of like bringing sunlight on governmental agencies. And so we spend a lot of time responding to records requests, legitimate ones that, and these are, not to say they're not legitimate, but they're to make money for these entities. So the legislature allows governmental entities to restrict this, and it has to be done by ordinance. So Courtney could certainly chime in. We spend an unbelievable amount of time responding to records requests. So, so I don't know, Courtney, if you have anything to add.
I don't. We do spend a lot of time on records requests.
Right.
For these businesses that are looking to profit by it.
I mean, really, our protocol is we send everything to the city attorney to determine what we need to give, what we don't need to give. So, yeah, Nick and Teresa Wooding get many emails from us, and then he'll tell us what we actually need to gather from each department. So a lot of these are, I mean, wasteful emails because we probably don't even need to send them to him in the first place, but we do, and this ordinance should help siphon that out.
For the citizens that, like, there are certain ones, I'm not gonna like say their names, I'm not trying to, they make a lot of requests, and they have a right to do that, and we give them that information, whether we give it to them directly or direct them to Gateway, for example, like Indiana Gateway has a lot of like we upload a lot of information. This is not to restrict those types of requests at all, so. But these are cumbersome and burdensome, and they're just to make money for private entities reselling our information.
Questions? Comments? This will also now
Go to
move
second reading.
To second reading on the 21st of July. Introduction of a resolution to transfer funds within the 2025 budgets.
Your Honor, I'd like to introduce a resolution and read it for the only time.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Galloway.
Resolution to transfer funds within the 2025 budgets. Whereas there are additional monies needed in certain line items in the 2025 budgets in order to pay for the city's local match, which was budgeted for the state's Community Crossing Grant Program. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the following transfers be made within the following budgets for the year 2025. MVH Fund 2202-524 from 231 as general operating supplies to 361 repairs, maintenance, outside vendors, $5,000. MVH restricted 2203-524 from 451.015 street paving, community crossing matching grant local fund, local match to fund number 2431 local bridge, local road and bridge matching grant fund, $460,000. Park Fund, 2204-800 from 381 Beechwood principal payment to 382 Beechwood interest payment, $247.95. Seated Fund, 2209-465 from 321, it's landfill ongoing monitoring, to 312 Seated IT services, $25,000. Municipal Tax Fund, 2249-524, from 421 CCMG paving to fund number 2431 local bridge, local road and bridge matching grant fund, $275,000. Transit Fund, 2510-304, from 501 salaries to 505 utility services, $3,000. End of resolution.
This is a resolution can pass this evening. Comments?
I just want to note, this resolution started out as just the local match for CCMG, Community Crossings Grant Program, but then we put some other normal transfers on there. I did just want to note that. I apologize for that. That's my error. So the MVH restricted, the $460,000, that's our local match, and we're putting it over into the street paving it's going from our local match to local road and bridge matching grant. So that shows our local match of 460,000. And then also the municipal surtax fund. That's going from 421, which you can see we budgeted as CCMG paving, and that's going into the local road and bridge matching grant fund, 275,000. So we do that so we can show our local match on our annual report. And then the rest of them are just normal transfers, and I apologize for that.
Further comment?
Yeah, okay, we add those two together for our local match. Then does the state match that?
Yes, the CCMG funds come from the state,
Right, okay.
yes.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Any other comments?
Yeah, I thought-
There was a couple comments about a tree down on Detroit Street. I recommended they start with the street department.
Yes.
And they also don't have good water pressure in their home on Detroit Street. I'm not
And you
sure.
can call the water department this evening. There is somebody there 24/7, so please reach out to them.
Let them know
And
that.
you put their number on,
Yep.
and,
I think we have someone that wants to speak here.
well, and with that, and I apologize, because any opportunity that we have to have a young person involved to speak on behalf of many, to the city council, especially ones of a former athlete at LaPorte High School, we'd like to welcome this individual forward. If you could state your name and address for the record, and please share.
Hi there, my name is Brenna Sebecki, and I'm a graduate of LaPorte High School, year 2023. I'm here to address some more, it will be local. I'm worried about the Hispanic community today, and I'm here to discuss that. So I come here today to express my concerns for the Hispanic and undocumented citizens for our community. Census reporter and Data USA finds that around 11% of the city is made up of the Hispanic community. Aside from the white population of our city, that is our largest ethnic group. While Data USA recorded that 4.39 or 971 LaPorte City citizens were born outside of the United States, these figures represent a large percentage of our city, our jobs, houses, taxes, as well as our friends, neighbors, co-workers, classmates, and family members. Despite all they bring to our community, however, they are now in danger of losing their livelihoods and liberty. Members of our community, members who not only make us better, but are truly an integral part of who we are as a city, are losing their ability to work, and thus their ability to give their children the food, resources, and experiences they need because of their rational and growing fear of being taken from their homes by immigration and customs enforcement. The city of LaPorte is not LaPorte without the Hispanic community, and to me, their labels of legal or illegal will never change that. I am concerned for our local law enforcement. I'm concerned that our local law enforcement will be misused in assisting ICE to harm law-abiding members of our community. Of the immigrants detained by ICE, 92% have been taken for no reason other than the status of their citizenship. Only 8% have committed violent crimes. This is not just. Today, I implore you to protect and support our neighbors and friends who have done nothing to deserve the risks they currently face. I ask this for those who cannot stand safely in this room to speak for themselves. I implore you to help these individuals find a safe way to become legal citizens of the states and to not unjustly endanger them by involving or assisting ICE. I implore you to protect those who came here in pursuit of happiness for their families and themselves. As a nation made from, for, and of immigrants, there's not a single family that doesn't belong here. From the bottom of my heart, I beg you to find protection for the Hispanic and undocumented citizens who reside in the city of LaPorte. Thank you for all you guys do for the community, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Brenna. Questions? Comments? Thank you. It's good to see you back in LaPorte. I would like to say this is Fair Week, It's important, get out, support the fair. If you haven't been there, amazing improvements to the fairgrounds and the county and I think it's RMEC or group that's taking it on, like Judge Stahlbring, Steve Mercinski, and their leadership has been phenomenal, so support the fair.
What activities are you involved in this weekend?
I was judging 4-H, and those kids get out there and support the 4-H. I don't believe I'm involved in the goat milking contest, so I'm safe there. And but-
So's the goat.
oh my gosh, I'll move right to Councilwoman Julie West with that.
Well, speaking of the LaPorte County Fair, I would like to just give them a huge shout out. They have 8 AEDs throughout that entire area, and it's all mapped out where each one of them are located. And so that's huge. So LaPorte County Fair Board, thank you very much for that. I want to do a shout out for one of our business owners in a couple of our departments, Ben Conowitz, who is one of the owners of Full Tilt Arcade, Pinball and Arcade, I think that's what it is. He came to me about doing some CPR AED classes for little kids. And so we had our 2 first ones on Sunday, went very well. Our firefighters came out, brought their engine out. The kids were able to kind of check that out, and they helped with some of those, part of those classes. A couple of our county officers came out as well. So thank you to them. They didn't have to do that. They came out and had the time to do that for us. And then tomorrow, the governor is going to do a ceremonial signing of that bill tomorrow in Indy. So be traveling down there for that. And that
Congratulations.
that law took effect July 1st. So I'm really excited about that.
Congratulations. And as well, thank you to our park team, our streets team. We had so many kind words of support, how spotless our downtown looked, how fireworks, everything was clean. So thank you to our team. And as we talk about fireworks, we talk about the parade. I wanted to give Ms. Huffman a moment. Has had a lot of comments regarding the firework current ordinance.
Yeah, so just really quickly, I've had discussions with a lot of folks in the city of LaPorte in regards to fireworks and our ordinance. Our ordinance does fall within the state law. I did compare the two, they are the same. It does allow for fireworks between, I believe, June 28th and July 9th, but I plead with the community. I live in the city. Be respectful of your neighbors. On a Sunday night when it's 11 o'clock, a lot of us work full-time jobs. We have kids, we have pets, we're veterans. I beg you, please be respectful from your neighbors. Just because you can do it doesn't necessarily mean that you should do it. When I hear a flash bang or something go off in the middle of the night, sometimes as late as 2 a.m., that's a struggle. And it was brought to my attention before our meeting today that there's a petition going around because a lot of city of LaPorte folks are struggling with the noise, especially during the week. So I do ask, please be respectful of your neighbors and your community.
Other comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Have a great night, evening, or a great evening. Bert. Watch this, we're good. I'm sure you were here.